During the prenatal checkup, my mother-in-law, who is a doctor, removed my uterus on the grounds of cancer risk. After losing my uterus, I inexplicably developed a series of complications. On the sickbed, her son forced me to leave with nothing. Disregarding my life or death, they drugged me, making me unable to speak or get out of bed. Afraid I would call the police for help, they took away my phone and broke the emergency call device. I died with deep resentment. My mother-in-law got promoted and made a fortune, and her son turned around to marry another woman and have children. The family lived happily together. Opening my eyes again, I was back at the hospital on the day of the prenatal checkup. My mother-in-law asked me to undergo an internal examination, but I quickly made an excuse and left. Later, I saw my mother-in-law smiling warmly as she held the hand of the pregnant mistress. I laughed. At the hospital prenatal checkup, my uterus was removed. My mother-in-law, Shu Guilan, who is a doctor, said there is a cancerous part in my uterus. I trust my mother-in-law. After all, she is the head of the gynecology department. She has treated at least tens of thousands of patients. I haven't been able to leave the hospital after the surgery. And my mother-in-law said I have complications. I lay in the VIP single-room hospital bed day after day, until one day, her son forced me to sign the divorce papers. He even said that my inability to have children made me the at-fault party and demanded I leave with nothing. In that instant, it all became clear to me. Later, her conversation with her son further confirmed my suspicions. Mom, what if Shuyu refuses to agree to the divorce? Don't worry, son. If she doesn't agree to the divorce, I'll just make you a widower. Mom, got it. Hearing that puts my mind at ease. I'll be waiting for your good news. My fists are clenched. I want to cry but have no tears, and my lips are bitten until they bleed, perhaps too weak. Even the blood is a faint red. This is the man who once vowed to love me for a lifetime, and my mother-in-law. I thought I treated her even better than my own mother. I'm this sick, and instead of comforting me, they're thinking about divorcing me. Now they even want me dead. I wanted to speak, but my mouth hung open for a long time without a single word coming out. I pressed the call button by the bed over and over, but there was no response. I used all my strength to try to get out of bed, but I couldn't move. I wanted to call the police, but suddenly remembered that my phone had long been taken away by my mother-in-law under the pretext of it affecting my rest. They said it was a VIP ward, meant for me to rest and recover in peace, but now it seems like a huge conspiracy. Who can help me? Unable to catch my breath, I died. Opening my eyes again, I was met with blinding sunlight and the pungent smell of disinfectant. Heaven has eyes. It turns out I really have been reborn. In the hospital's ultrasound room, I lay on the small examination bed, ready for the B-scan. Shu Guilan, dressed in a white coat, was preparing with her back turned to me. Looking at the demon who caused my death before me, my body stiffened, and my palms broke out in sweat. I remember that every previous ultrasound check was performed by a specialized ultrasound doctor. But Shu Guilan is just a gynecologist, not an ultrasound doctor. I quickly grabbed my phone to look it up. The gynecologist really shouldn't perform ultrasound examinations on patients. She risked breaking the law and violating hospital regulations to examine me. It turns out that from the very beginning, she intended to harm me. Taking advantage of her unpreparedness, I secretly turned on my phone to record the conversation. A few minutes later, Shu Guilan slid the detector back and forth on my belly with one hand while operating the computer screen with the other. Soon after, with a serious expression and a low voice, she said, Yeah, your condition doesn't look good. I'll perform an internal examination for you in a moment. Without a moment's hesitation, I immediately nodded in agreement. Mom, I'll follow your advice. You're the expert in this area. Shu Guilan smiled with satisfaction. All right, come to my office later, and I'll give you a checkup. I'll go prepare first. After saying that, Shu Guilan left before I did. That's how it was in my previous life. After several years of marriage without conceiving, I finally saw 2 lines on the test. My first thought was to go to the gynecology hospital where Shu Guilan works as a doctor for a checkup. Unexpectedly, Shu Guilan personally performed the ultrasound for me and said there was an issue with the results, suggesting an internal examination. In my previous life, my tragedy began at this very moment. When she said she was going to perform an internal examination on me, I didn't have any suspicion at all and even felt that Shu Guilan valued me. although there were some bumps in daily life. Everyone understood the nature of the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationship. There was no deep-seated hatred, just some gossip and venting. Moreover, I was carrying her son's flesh and blood in my womb. I never would have imagined that she would actually remove my uterus. Not only that, but later she even lost her life. At this thought, I quickly got off the examination table. I rushed to the hospital entrance in one breath and dialed Shu Guilan's number. Mom. My workplace just notified me of an urgent meeting and insisted I return immediately. I'll come for the checkup next time. On the other end of the phone, Shu Guilan was furious. Shu Yu, I order you to come here right now. I postponed a major client's surgery just to check on you. Don't be ungrateful. I remained silent and held the phone far away from my ear, thinking about how she must be seething with anger but unable to do anything about it. I smiled, perhaps realizing she was too agitated. Shu Guilan's tone softened. Yeah, you need to weigh what's more important, your work or your health. Your condition can't be delayed for a moment. Mom is so worried because I truly care about you. Before she could finish, I cut her off. Mom, I know you mean well. I'm almost at the office. Let's talk later. Shu Guilan called again, and I turned off my phone directly. Damn old woman, she can't even wait a minute. I knew the old woman wouldn't let it go. As soon as I stepped out, I ordered 10 pinhole cameras through Same City Express delivery. While they were at work, I installed cameras in every possible place. Several phones are running at the same time. I have to say, it really uses up a lot of data. But isn't this exactly what money is for? After everything was ready, I turned them on. Just as I suspected, the long-lost 99+ notifications in the WeChat message bar, all from Shu Guilan and her son Chen Da. Yeah, where are you? Mom said she wanted to check on you. Why is your phone off? Yeah, if you see this, reply as soon as possible. Don't do anything rash. Thinking of his face in the previous life, I just felt disgusted. I calmly replied, I'm fine. There's a lot going on at work today, and my boss sent me on a last-minute business trip. I'm already out of town. As soon as I replied, the other person immediately called. The tone was so sincere that anyone who didn't know better would think they really loved me. Yeah, I order you to come back immediately. Your body is not just your own, it belongs to the whole family. There's not a moment to lose. If I didn't know his schemes, I would have thought he was the best husband in China. Of course, now is not the time to bring up divorce with him, especially since I haven't yet taken the revenge I'm owed. I replied calmly and agreed at once. All right, I'll finish up here and hurry back. Actually, the so-called business trip was just to avoid them. Otherwise, how could it be convenient for them to show their true colors? The unit leader is my best friend. In my previous life, after I died, it was also her who kept helping me with everything. In this world, you can live without a man, but you can't live without a best friend. She always thought Chen Da and his mother were not good people, but I didn't pay much attention. Little did I know, her words would come true. In this life, right after leaving the hospital, I contacted her immediately and told her about the experiences from my previous life in the form of a premonition. She reminded me to be cautious in all matters and cooperated with me, which led to the business trip. I was on a business trip, but my mind was on the camera. Earlier, Shu Guilan had mentioned that important matters should not be discussed over the phone as it was unsafe. They should always be discussed face-to-face at home, so I knew there must be a surprise with the home camera. Sure enough, that very night, Shu Guilan called Chen Da back to her house. Shu Guilan sat on the sofa with her arms crossed, one leg crossed over the other. She glanced at Chen Da, who was brewing tea beside her, and said slowly, Son, don't worry, once she comes back, I'll take care of her. I stared at my phone screen, wishing I could rush in and slap her to death. If the small is not endured, the great will be disturbed. I will endure. Chen Da smiled sheepishly and said, Mom, I trust you to handle things. If anyone is to blame, it's her. Why get pregnant now? Of all times, the pile of medicine she's taken and the tests she's done could form a mountain. With her poor soil, what good sprout could possibly grow? Lately, she's been craving spicy food. Didn't you see her ultrasound? This pregnancy is most likely a girl. How can a girl carry on the family line? So that's how it is. I watched them through the camera, trembling all over, my blood boiling with rage. Their conversation confirmed my suspicions. It turned out they had intended to kill me from the very beginning. After saying that, Chen Da broke into a wide grin as he looked at the WeChat chat window. Laugh, laugh, there's more to come when you laugh. Actually, when you think about it, everything has its signs. 5 years ago, I married Chen Da through a blind date. On the first day of our marriage, Shu Guilan pinched my hip bone and said with a laugh, "You have wide hips, good for bearing children," on the first day of marriage. Being told by my mother-in-law about having children was indeed quite embarrassing, and there was also a faint sense of displeasure. Half a year into the marriage, although Chen Da and I occasionally argued and got angry, there were no major conflicts. After that, things just weren't the same. Shu Guilan often brought up the fact that I couldn't get pregnant. Yeah, you two really need to put in more effort. Xiaoda is the only son, and his father passed away early. The Chen family must not be left without an heir. Chen Da is a mama's boy, he does whatever his mother says. Usually, I just pretend not to hear or see anything. As an outsider, it wasn't easy for me to meet Chen Da. I am grateful and cherish my blessings. I knew that once I got pregnant, everything would fall into place. Whatever checkups Shu Guilan asked me to do, whatever medicine she told me to take, I followed her instructions. After 5 years of marriage, I finally became pregnant. But when I showed Chen Da the pregnancy test with 2 lines, he wasn't as happy as I had imagined, just saying flatly, "Oh." What was even more unexpected was that Shu Guilan, who had been so eager for a grandson, was also very indifferent. I thought maybe they had been disappointed for too long and were afraid of being let down again, so I didn't think much of it. In my previous life, before the accident, Shu Guilan asked me to go to the hospital for a prenatal checkup. And I agreed without hesitation. Little did I know it would end up costing me my life. Thinking about this, I grit my teeth in hatred. In this life, I will repay blood with blood. But on second thought, if it were only the reasons Chen Da mentioned, he could have simply persuaded me to give up the child. After all, what he said wasn't entirely without merit. This child was indeed conceived with the help of medication. But why did he have to remove my uterus, insist on divorcing me, and push me to the brink of death? Could there be some hidden meaning behind Chen Da's remark about not getting pregnant sooner or later? Often, there's no need to struggle to find the answers will come to you on their own. The next day, the camera at Chen Da's house detected some movement. I saw Chen Da bending down to help a young woman into the house. The woman is wearing a mask, making it hard to see her face. Her legs are slender, but her belly is as big as a drum, clearly indicating she is in the late stages of pregnancy. After a while, the woman sat on the sofa and took off her mask. At the sight of her, I was utterly shocked. Isn't this Jiang Xitian, Shu Guilan's nurse assistant? Why is she at my house? I saw Chen Da give Jiang Xitian an intimate kiss on the forehead. Jiang Xitian cautiously glanced around, then shyly pushed him away. "Sweetie, don't be afraid, that woman is on a business trip and definitely won't be back. It's just the two of us." It turns out, they had already been keeping a mistress in a place I couldn't see. No wonder they saw me as a thorn in their side, eager to get rid of me. Jiang Xitian casually mentioned, "That's not necessarily true. Who knows if she installed a camera?" My heart leaped into my throat. Had she discovered it? That can't be. I hid the pinhole camera very discreetly. I wasn't the only one who was nervous. Chen Da was too. Holding my breath, I watched as he wiped his sweat and looked around nervously. In an instant, our eyes met. I thought, it's over, it's all over now. The atmosphere instantly became as tense as ice. Jiang Xitian burst out laughing, looked up at Chen Da, and said, "Look how scared you are. I was just joking. Damn it, you really scared the hell out of me." I quickly took a sip of water to calm my nerves. Chen Da also looked shaken and went over to hug Jiang Xitian. "My dear, don't scare me like that. I'm the most timid person." Jiang Xitian snorted coldly. "You got me pregnant, and you still say you're timid." Chen Da gave a lecherous grin. "Don't even mention it. You haven't let me touch you since you got pregnant. I'm about to go crazy from the frustration." Chen Da then crawled behind Jiang Xitian like a dog. Jiang Xitian responded indifferently, "Suffer to death. That thing in the belly of the hen that doesn't lay eggs. You'd better deal with it quickly. I don't want my son to have a half-sister. What if your mother isn't willing to get rid of the little bastard in her belly?" Chen Da said confidently. "She will. My mom said she'll take care of it as soon as she returns from her business trip." Jiang Xitian's eyes rolled around. "I've got an idea. I'll buy some feng shui talismans online, and you just tell your mom that a master did the calculations, saying that she and the baby in her womb are clashing with your mom's energy. Chen Da was clearly pleased with this suggestion. Instantly, I felt all the blood in my body rush to the top of my head, a metallic taste seeped into my mouth, then came an indescribable scene. What a beast! Always ready to eat no matter the time. Early the next morning, I went to the hospital at the business trip location for a checkup. Lying on the examination bed, I closed my eyes, my body trembling uncontrollably. Although I knew that in my previous life, it was Shu Guilan's mischief that caused me to lose my uterus, but I'm not entirely sure about my current physical condition. Moreover, since I've been reborn, is my body exactly the same as it was in my previous life? I'm afraid. The young doctor gently placed the instrument on my belly and moved it slowly, speaking softly. Relax, there's already a fetal heartbeat and embryo. Everything is normal, just make sure to have regular checkups. Should the one in my belly be kept? To be honest, I hesitated for a moment, but the moment I heard the doctor mention the fetal heartbeat and embryo, I cried. No one knows how much I've suffered for this child. My anxious heart finally settled down. Of course, some people weren't idle either. Just after the checkup, a WeChat message came. Yeah, can you come back today? If you can, I'll keep tomorrow's surgery slot open for your checkup. It was Shu Guilan. I replied instantly, Mom, I can come back today. The other person also replied instantly, that's great, Mom is waiting for you. Of course, Chen Da was also in a hurry, hearing that I was going back. Even the WeChat reply was just like his mother's. It really is a mother-son connection. I laughed. It's time to go back and fight. Just off the high-speed train, Shu Guilan called. Yeah, you can come straight to the hospital later. I pretended as if nothing was wrong and said, Mom, okay, I'll go straight there later. As soon as we met, I quickly took out the local specialty from my business trip and gave it to Shu Guilan. A yellow paper talisman accidentally fell to the ground, and she happened to see it. I quickly reached out to pick it up. Shu Guilan looked surprised. Yeah, what is this? I stammered, avoiding eye contact. Oh, it's nothing. Shu Guilan stared at me with a grim face, her voice low. Tell me the truth, Mom. With a tearful voice, I dropped to my knees with a thud. Mom, you must save the son in my belly. Someone wants to harm him. Shu Guilan's eyes widened. She took 2 steps back and said in a panic, how do you know it's a son? Who wants to harm him? I broke down sobbing. For the past 2 days, I've been having the same nightmare. In the dream, a little dragon and a tiger climbing a mountain ate another tiny dragon alive. After I finished speaking, I stole a glance at Shu Guilan, who looked astonished. What happened next? I fully utilized the theatrical skills I had developed during my university club days, using both gestures and expressions to vividly describe. Later, the tiger and the little dragon went to eat the rabbit and monkey next to them. The rabbit and monkey let out screams, and in an instant, they were torn to shreds, with the mountain tiger ripping them into pieces. That rabbit, it seemed to be a female rabbit. I noticed there was no little bell down there. Why did they have to eat the bunny? After that, I woke up in terror. Shu Guilan was now staring at me, as if she herself were that torn-apart bunny, trying to hold back my laughter. I continued, I went for a checkup, and you said there was something wrong with my health. I was terrified. My colleague told me the local temple is very effective. So I went to get a fortune told. Shu Guilan stared at me and asked, and then, I spoke seriously, enunciating each word clearly. The master in the temple said I had a pregnancy dream, that I'm carrying a son, and told me to pay attention to any pregnant women around me who were born in the year of the tiger. I thought for a long time, but there's no one like that around me. But strangely enough, after using this talisman, I didn't have any nightmares last night. After hearing this, Shu Guilan let out a long sigh of relief and slumped into her chair. I turned my back and couldn't help but laugh, learning on the spot and putting it to use. How's that? Come to think of it, I should thank that despicable couple. If it weren't for their secret conversation yesterday giving me inspiration, I wouldn't have thought of this move. Good thing I was prepared in advance. There happens to be an ancient temple at the place where I'm on a business trip, and everyone says it's very spiritually potent. Although Shu Guilan is a doctor, she is quite superstitious. Shu Guilan was born in the year of the rabbit, and Chen Da was born in the year of the monkey, as far as I know. Jiang Sitian was born in the year of the tiger. She has a dragon in her belly. And so do I, one big and one small. Mom, please check me quickly. I called out for a long time before the old woman finally snapped out of it, looking dazed. Oh, okay, before I even took off my pants. She said the internal exam was fine. Go ahead and go crazy. You old hag, I'm watching you, while the old woman went out to wash her hands. I placed the pinhole camera in the shadow of the painting hanging on her wall. After the old woman came back in, I pretended to be on the phone and raised my voice. Master Liu, are you saying the dragon baby in my womb is the guardian of the rabbit and the monkey? Okay, I understand now, Master, thank you. I'll do exactly as you say. I stole a glance at her. She leaned in with her ear tilted toward me. Her body was slanted like the Eiffel Tower. As if she couldn't wait to snatch the phone and listen in. As soon as I hung up, she grabbed my arm and asked anxiously, "What did the master say?" I said nonchalantly, "Oh, nothing much. He just said that the dragon, rabbit, and monkey in my belly are all connected, prosper together, suffer together, and we all need to be cautious of pregnant women born in the year of the tiger." As I spoke, I glanced at Shu Guilan and saw her glaring at me. Those dead fish eyes were quite unsettling. I quickly added, "I think this fortune teller is just a fraud, spouting nonsense, to make her believe." After hanging up, I deliberately switched to the All Calls tab, and the number displayed was indeed from the business trip location. Mid-sentence, Shu Guilan interrupted, Yeah. You can't say that. Some things are better to believe they exist than to assume they don't." Good, I was waiting for that exact line. "Mom, there's an urgent matter at work. I need to go handle it." Shu Guilan's face darkened. "How come it's either a business trip or overtime? You're just pregnant. Even if you don't think about yourself, you should at least consider the baby in your belly. It's better to quit while you're ahead. Letting her mull it over slowly will be more interesting, after all. Some things require giving her time to prepare, don't they?" No sooner had I stepped out the front door than the newly installed camera started showing activity. Jiang Sitian walked in slowly with her hands on her waist. Seeing no one around, she asked softly, "Director Shu, did you need something?" Shu Guilan immediately took Jiang Sitian's hand, beaming with a smile. "Silly child, sit down quickly. How many times have I told you, don't call me director when there's no one around?" Jiang Sitian lowered her head, her face flushed, and called out, "Mom." Shu Guilan was overjoyed. I still caught the flicker of unease that clearly passed through her eyes. "The show is about to begin." Shu Guilan took a sip of water and asked casually, Tian, I remember you were born in the year of the tiger, right?" Jiang Sitian nodded and replied, "Yes, I was born in May 1998. Shu Guilan murmured to herself, lost in thought. "Oh, May is just the time for the mountain tiger." I laughed. "I understand Shu Guilan. Shu Guilan wants a grandson. But what if this grandson clashes with her and her son? That's for sure." The next day, there was another unexpected discovery in the camera in Chen Da's car. Shu Guilan sat in the passenger seat, arms crossed, with a serious expression. "Xiao Da. From now on, don't contact Jiang Sitian for the time being." Chen Da was full of confusion, but before he could speak, Shu Guilan cut him off. "Okay, I'll listen to Mom. What a mama's boy, by the way. You haven't chatted with her using your main WeChat account before, have you?" "No, I've only used a secondary account to chat." Shu Guilan visibly breathed a sigh of relief. "That's good." A week later, I went to the hospital for a routine prenatal checkup and overheard a few doctors whispering. They all knew I was Shu Guilan's daughter-in-law, so they didn't bother hiding it from me. Sitian is really pitiful. Her due date is still months away. So how did she suddenly have a massive hemorrhage and an early rupture of membranes? She didn't even have any family by her side. Thankfully Director Shu was there. I feigned concern and asked, "What happened to Nurse Jiang?" One of the doctors replied, "Oh, Sitian had a premature rupture of membranes and is hemorrhaging heavily. Chief Shu is performing surgery on her." The story at this point is almost identical to the previous life, except this time. The fish on the chopping block is no longer me, but it's Jiang Sitian. I suddenly thought of something. After a quick check, I went to the hospital room I had stayed in during my previous life. The VIP sign on the door was particularly eye-catching. The door was ajar, and taking advantage of the moment when no one was paying attention, I installed the pinhole camera in a gap of the decoration directly facing the hospital bed. Half an hour later, Jiang Sitian was indeed wheeled in. Her face was deathly pale, her eyes tightly shut, like a corpse. I overheard two nurses at the door discussing, "Sitian is so unfortunate, she lost her uterus and couldn't save the baby." Alas, who says it's not? Luckily Director Shu was there, saving a life. Hearing this, I shuddered, indeed ruthless and cunning. With a tight pace and no dull moments throughout, as expected, her phone will probably be taken away after a while under the pretext of not wanting to disturb her rest. So what's next? It sends chills down my spine, but I'm still looking forward to it. Jiang Sitian has been feeling drowsy ever since the surgery, apart from Shu Guilan coming twice, a nurse coming in to change the dressing, and a caregiver providing care inside. No one else has visited. I was watching intently when Chen Da sent a WeChat message. "My mom said she needs to see me, so I won't be home for dinner tonight." I smiled at my phone screen, still thinking about dinner. How carefree. Just as I switched to the camera at Shu Guilan's house, I heard Chen Da ask anxiously, "How is Sitian doing?" Shu Guilan didn't speak, just kept her head down and sipped her tea. Chen Da stomped his feet anxiously. "Mom, hurry up and tell me, how is Sitian doing?" Shu Guilan gave Chen Da a disdainful glance. Such a grown man, still so impatient. "She's not dead." Hearing that she was okay, Chen Da breathed a sigh of relief. Shu Guilan then whispered, "The child is gone, and so is the uterus." Chen Da, hearing that the child was gone, was in disbelief and asked with a trembling voice, "Whose child is gone?" "Why?" Shu Guilan glared fiercely at Chen Da. "Why? Ask yourself what you've done." Chen Da looked utterly bewildered. Shu Guilan was exasperated by her son's incompetence. "Useless thing. If you had behaved yourself, she wouldn't have had a premature rupture of membranes." Hearing this, Chen Da finally understood and began to blame himself incessantly. Indeed, no one knows a son better than his mother. Seeing that Chen Da didn't suspect her at all, Shu Guilan breathed a sigh of relief. Chen Da said he wanted to go to the hospital to see her, but Shu Guilan stopped him immediately. "What identity are you going as? There are so many eyes watching at the hospital. She'll be discharged in a few days. After she's discharged, I'll have her stay in the other apartment, and then you can go see her. Lately, if she calls you or sends you WeChat messages, don't reply." Chen Da said nothing more, just lowered his head, his eyes reddening. Shu Guilan didn't mention a single word about what I told her regarding mutual promotion and restraint. Chen Da would never have imagined that all of this was deliberately orchestrated by his mother, who was so eager for a grandson. Chen Da sat on the sofa, burying his head in his hands, and sobbed, "She lost the child because of me. And now she's lost her uterus. I must treat her twice as well from now on." How touching. She lost her child and her uterus because of him. In my previous life, wasn't it because of him that I lost my uterus and my child? But in the end, I was conspired against and killed step by step. How can they have a happy ending? I want to see them fight like dogs. After the surgery, Jiang Sitian grew increasingly weak, crying all day and making a fuss about wanting to see Chen Da. Finally, one day, Shu Guilan took her phone away as well, saying it was affecting her rest. Later on, Jiang Sitian developed a whole host of complications. It was exactly the same as what happened to me in my previous life. In the video, Shu Guilan stood with her arms crossed, whispering to Jiang Sitian, who was lying in the hospital bed covered in tubes, "Sitian, your child is gone. And so is your uterus. You must take good care of yourself." With a sinister expression, she slowly approached Jiang Sitian and quickly unplugged the oxygen machine by the bed. Jiang Sitian on the bed stared wide-eyed, with no strength to resist. The arm that had been resting on her chest suddenly dropped to the side of the bed. Jiang Sitian was dead, her eyes still wide open. The man who had promised to treat her twice as well, I never got to see her before I died. It's a complete tragedy. But I don't like tragedies, I prefer happy endings. Sending off just one isn't enough. If you're going to give the whole family bucket. After Jiang Sitian's death, Chen Da seemed to understand something. In the car, he confronted Shu Guilan. "Why did you do this? Wasn't it agreed that we would get rid of Yeye? How did it end up being Sitian?" Without saying a word, Shu Guilan slapped Chen Da hard across his left cheek. "Don't make baseless accusations, she brought this upon herself. As my belly grows bigger day by day, I know the time left for me is not much. I don't want the child to see something dirty as soon as it's born." No matter how Shu Guilan tries to cover it up, it is clearly inappropriate to perform a major procedure like a hysterectomy without the signature of the patient's close relatives. It is said that Jiang Xitian is an orphan. She grew up with an aunt she was not close to. After her death, the hospital used a mix of coaxing, deception, and threats to offer some compensation and then sent us away. How could this be acceptable? The next day, I deliberately had Chen Da accompany me to my prenatal checkup. As soon as we entered the hospital, we saw a noisy commotion in the lobby, with a crowd of people gathered around. My poor niece. Your life has been so full of hardship. You lost your parents at a young age, and just when you managed to grow up, you were killed by someone. A woman around 50 years old, dressed in rural attire, was seen sitting on the ground, wailing loudly while slapping her thighs. A few middle-aged men and women stood nearby, also sighing and crying. Soon, someone in the crowd began to speak. Your hospital is just too ruthless. A perfectly healthy person died here, and there's not even an explanation. Is there no justice anymore? Exactly. The deceased was a young pregnant woman from the 98 generation. 2 lives lost in one death. I heard the deceased was named Jiang Xitian. And she was even a nurse at the hospital. Is this how you treat your own employees? It's so disheartening. As they spoke, many people raised their phones and started taking pictures. I could clearly feel Chen Da's hand, which was holding mine, suddenly tremble. I pretended to be startled and quickly pulled Chunda away, saying, "Hurry, hurry. The fortune teller told me earlier to be cautious of pregnant women born in the year of the tiger around me, saying they could harm the baby in my womb." Chunda froze, staring at me and asking, "What did you just say?" I repeated what I had just said and deliberately added, "I even mentioned this to Mom. I thought there were no pregnant women born in the year of the tiger around me. But it turns out Nurse Jiang is one." Chunda clenched his fists, a fire of anger seemingly burning in his eyes. He doesn't know that the troublemakers were brought here by me. After Jiang Xitian got into trouble, another lawyer friend of mine, at my suggestion, went to her aunt's house, telling them that a few $100,000 was too little and offering to represent them for free. How could they possibly pass up such a good deal? The situation escalated, and the crowd of onlookers grew larger. They were soon summoned to the dean's office. Jiang Xitian's family demanded 3 million yuan upfront, threatening to ruin Shu Guilan's reputation otherwise. The hospital's attitude was very polite, expressing sympathy and deep apologies. But they never admitted any fault or mentioned increasing the compensation. Indeed, ginger is spicier when it's old. With the leadership backing her, Shu Guilan became even more confident and assertive. "You can file a lawsuit if you want. Follow the procedures as you see fit. The hospital and I bear no responsibility whatsoever." In court, Shu Guilan and her lawyer insisted that Jiang Xitian's death was due to her own underlying health conditions. It has nothing to do with doctors or hospitals. Not only that, Shu Guilan also spoke with conviction, portraying herself as an incorruptible and dedicated doctor who saves lives. Jiang Xitian is a nurse and fully understood the content of the consent form. "I only did what a doctor should do." If a doctor insists on waiting for the signature of a patient's close relative in an emergency, the signature they wait for would be the very thing that kills the patient. A truly responsible doctor only needs to be accountable to the patient, not to the patient's family. Do you know what massive bleeding means? The patient lost 500 milliliters of blood in just 2 minutes. The average adult has about 4,000 milliliters of blood in their body. If the patient bled for 16 minutes, they would have bled to death. I am very sad about Nurse Jiang's death, but I am not at fault. Surgery always carries risks. We cannot give up eating for fear of choking. It must be said, Shu Guilan is indeed a master at brainwashing, after all her questionable actions. Surprisingly, many people started to support her. Dr. Shu did nothing wrong. There aren't many good doctors like her these days. Exactly, nowadays, doctors are always thinking about how to avoid risks for themselves and rarely put the patient's interests first. Sticking to principles without considering the actual situation is just being unreasonable. We cannot let a good doctor like Dr. Shu become disheartened after a series of controversial actions. The hashtag #DoNotLetGoodDoctorsLoseHeart instantly became the top trending topic. Under the pressure of public opinion, the medical malpractice case ultimately ended with Shu Guilan's complete victory. Shu Guilan became a well-known figure and was even directly appointed as the vice president. Some NPC deputies even proposed to amend the current regulation that requires family members to sign consent forms before surgery. Major media outlets also rushed to cover the story. Xu Guilan both donated money and gave interviews. Thanks to her connections, Chen Da, who had long been the second-in-command in the department, was promoted to the top position. The two of them are truly riding high and moving fast. In just a few months, she was elevated to a position where the ladder to the heavens is no longer visible. Act, put on a full performance, I understand, but it's lonely at the top. Lifting high and then dropping hard is what makes it interesting. The current evidence confirms that Xu Guilan's intentional homicide is not a major issue, but Chen Da can stay out of it. How can this be? The phone that was in contact with Jiang Xitian was always kept in Chen Da's car. The car was bought by me. And he didn't know there was a spare key. One day, while he was away on a business trip, I used the spare key to open the car and took out the phone. Surprisingly, the phone didn't even have a password. That scene, that scale, after Jiang Xitian's death. Chen Da spent all day in the car watching videos of the two of them together on this phone. It's truly moving and tragic. If Chen Da found out that Jiang Xitian was killed by Xu Guilan, how would he react? It seems it's time for Chen Da's affair with Jiang Xitian to be exposed. The phone rang just then. It was Xu Guilan. Xu Guilan said the family hadn't had a proper meal together in a long time and asked me to come home for dinner. At the dinner table, Xu Guilan sipped her wine with a look of schadenfreude. Thank goodness, heaven has eyes this time. It's a blessing in disguise. I looked at Chen Da beside me, displeased, and got straight to the point. The child in Jiang Xitian's belly is yours. Isn't it? If I hadn't urgently needed the car, would I still be kept in the dark? Chen Da was clearly caught off guard by my sudden question. He hemmed and hawed for a long time without saying a word, just gulping down alcohol. Xu Guilan sighed. Yeah, I just found out about Xiaoda's affair. He went too far. I never expected him to mess around right under my nose. I sobbed uncontrollably. Mom, I'm not angry about his cheating. I'm heartbroken for the child in Xiaojiang's belly. It was still a Chen family descendant, after all, and now it's gone. Alas, I emphasized again, if I had known Xiaojiang was born in the year of the tiger, I wouldn't have told you about that dream back then. Xu Guilan glared at me, gritting her teeth. Don't talk nonsense. I think it's all that vixen's fault. She, rubbing against Xiao Da with force, I continued to sob. It takes two to tango, and that was 2 lives. This sentence completely enraged Xu Guilan. So you're the damn saint. If they didn't die, it would be you and the child in your belly. Don't be so pretentious here, acting all innocent after getting the advantage. Indeed, wine in, truth out. I heard it and pretended to be shocked. Quickly stepping back 2 paces, Xu Guilan pressed on relentlessly. That little wretch brought it upon herself. If fate let her live to the 1st of the month, she wouldn't make it to the 15th. Chen Da, who had been drunk and unconscious, suddenly sat up. Haha, Mom, even fate has to listen to you. Although he was laughing, this laughter sent chills down one's spine. Xu Guilan seemed truly drunk, speaking more and more. See, I told you, she and that child were bad luck for us. She deserved to die. And I even regret not letting her die sooner. Look at how things have turned out for us since she died. Everything's been going our way, with luck so good we can't even escape it. Indeed. There was no escaping it, because the disciplinary inspection department had already set their sights on her due to a medical corruption case. Hearing this, the mama's boy who had just been flattering her suddenly turned red-eyed, holding an ashtray and walking straight toward Xu Guilan. I knew Xitian was killed by you. I suspected it was you before, but I never had evidence. I've recorded everything you just said. You're a murderer. I'm calling the police right now. Xu Guilan couldn't tolerate his insolence and slapped him hard across the face. You heartless bastard, pretending to be a saint. If it weren't for you getting Xiaojiang pregnant, would I have done this? Weren't you all also trying to get rid of Yaya? Chen Da did not back down and slapped his mother back hard. Perhaps the slap was too forceful. Chen Da lost his balance and his back ended up impaled on an exposed nail. I screamed in fright, seeing her only son in such a state. Xu Guilan went berserk and tried to kill me. If it weren't for your meddling, my son wouldn't be like this. If anything happens to my son, I'll make you pay with your life. It's better to get away from such a mad person as soon as possible. my best friend, who had been waiting at the door, heard my voice and immediately broke in with a few strong men. Before the police and ambulance arrived, I left her house and checked into a hotel. Cameras located in various places continue to operate. Chen Da spent a week in the ICU. Surprisingly, he didn't die. After leaving the ICU, he was still placed in the same VIP room that Jiang Xitian had previously stayed in. I really don't know whether to say they were destined to meet or that fate was on my side. The camera I had installed earlier wasn't taken down in time. In the camera footage, Xu Guilan looked at Chen Da on the hospital bed with deep affection. Chen Da, who had been unconscious, suddenly woke up. "You murderer. Even if I become a ghost, I won't let you off. As long as I'm alive, I'll report you. Just wait for your death." At that moment, Xu Guilan must have hated her useless teammate to the core. Right, Xu Guilan gritted her teeth and raised her hand, slapping Chen Da on the hospital bed with another fierce blow. "I really raised a thankless, ungrateful wretch." Chen Da, with a look of fearless determination, continued to provoke Xu Guilan. "Go ahead and kill me if you dare. Aren't you best at stabbing people in the back? Come on, do it, do it." Xu Guilan closed her eyes, her face stubborn, trying hard not to let her tears fall. Chen Da escalated his attack. "Am I really my father's son? Cece already told me about you and your dean. You two were involved even before my father passed away, weren't you? Shameless old woman. If I've cheated, I've only followed your example. You know what they call that? Like mother, like son." Xu Guilan didn't say a word. Just as she had done last time when Jiang Xitian was lying here, Chen Da had no chance to learn the truth. No poison, no real man. Even a vicious tiger does not eat its own cubs. To her, it's bullshit, whoever it is, as long as they threaten me. Great, another one gone. Not enough. How could that be enough? There's more excitement to come. After Chen Da's death, Xu Guilan requested a long leave. The unit quickly approved it. After all, it's the elderly seeing off the young. Is that really the case? For Xu Guilan, the one person who could possibly reveal the secret had finally disappeared. At this thought, a sinister smile flickered across her face. How could I let her smile? Allowing her to smile for even one more second would be a dereliction of my duty. Is it normal to get promoted after killing someone? Of course it's not normal, but if the dean is deliberately covering it up, that's a different story. It's time to settle the score for all those things that happened in the VIP ward and the office. Overnight, one video after another emerged like mushrooms after the rain. At the same time, hashtags such as #hospital vice president murder, #hospital vice president bribery, #hospital vice president affair with president, and #president mistress instantly became trending topics. These videos exploded across the internet like an atomic bomb. Authorities demanded a thorough investigation into Jiang Xitian's cause of death. Netizens were abuzz with discussions. No wonder the hospital is so protective of her. Turns out she's the dean's mistress. Unbelievable. I heard her son is also the dean's. Now the whole family of three can finally be reunited. Seeing these comments, I calmly called Xu Guilan, "Mom. I forgot to mention earlier. The fortune teller said it's you who's bringing misfortune to me and the baby in my womb. What do you think we should do about it?" Before Xu Guilan could go crazy, I hung up the phone first. The official final conclusion: this was a thoroughly premeditated murder case. The verdict was announced. Xu Guilan was found guilty of intentional homicide, embezzlement, bribery, and other charges. With multiple crimes combined, she was sentenced to immediate execution. The dean was also imprisoned for multiple charges including embezzlement, bribery, and harboring criminals, and will likely spend the rest of his life growing old and dying in prison. I heard that during the days awaiting execution, Xu Guilan felt life was worse than death. She banged her head against the wall, swallowed a toothbrush. She tried everything she could. In the end, her death was very official, and Chen Da went even further. The existing evidence is insufficient to prove that he was involved in intentional homicide, but he cannot escape the charge of harboring a criminal. Men like him who cheat are not well regarded inside. It is said that in order to get out, he even resorted to eating feces. Yet even after eating feces, the doctor still determined that he does not have a mental illness. Later, he didn't want to go out anymore. Later on, it was said that he drowned in a toilet. What a peculiar way to die. Family visitation before the execution. As the only family member, I met Shuguilan. After not seeing her for a few days, I noticed her hair had turned grey, her gaze was vacant, and her eyes were bloodshot. Seeing my pregnant belly, a flicker of joy passed through her eyes, and she muttered to herself, "Thank goodness. At least you've left the Chen family with an heir." I curled my lips into a mocking smile and, while the prison guard wasn't looking, stared at her and whispered, "You originally intended to remove my uterus, didn't you?" She widened her eyes and froze for a moment. "Also, the child in my womb is definitely not your son's." She lunged at me like a madwoman, trying to hit me, with several layers of protective glass between us. "Go ahead, hit me, hit me." When the prison guard arrived, I pretended to be frightened and quickly left in tears. It is said that later, she was determined to die inside. A few hours after the daughter was born, Shu Guilan died. The child was Chen Die's. It was just a lie to deceive her. No matter what, the child in the womb is innocent. I think when she grows up, she might ask about her father. I'll just say her father turned into a butterfly and flew away. After Shu Guilan's death, all her property became part of her estate. The daughter, as the sole heir, inherited all the estate. I quit my job, sold the property, changed my name, and took my daughter back to my hometown in the south. There are mountains and rivers, and 4 distinct seasons. Watching birds fly by, my daughter would point to the sky and ask, "Mom, did Dad fly away like that too?" I smiled and nodded. Looking at my daughter, I softly hummed a nursery rhyme. The sky was so high that day, higher than the distance between us.